Hello and welcome. My name's Andy Crook and I'm your host for tonight's training topic, Next Steps. Every week I try to go live to help garage owners become more successful in business. How do I do that? I do a 15-minute training topic on one of the 5 pillars of business as I see them. Today we're looking at the planning pillar and we're looking at a training topic called Next Steps. Now, Next Steps is a continuation of a training topic I did around about this time last year. And it's always interesting that during the first month of the year, our focus turns to maybe planning for the year ahead. So I wanted to go over a topic called Fix This Next. And I wanted to go a little bit of a deeper dive into what Fix This Next is about. And that's the, if you like, the focus of tonight's training, because it's all too easy to work on the wrong thing in your business or the next thing and get distracted by shiny objects when you would be better off on working on the next logical thing. But that requires you to sort of prioritize what you're going to work on in your business, and that's not always easy, especially when you're sort of being dragged into the day-to-day running of the business. So one of the things that I like to think about when I look at this is, what is your situational awareness within the business? Are you aware of what's going wrong and why it's going wrong? And often we're not. We're too close to the problem to actually see it. Now, what it requires is feedback, is one way of doing it, or just taking some time out from the business and watching what happens, or maybe looking at some figures, looking at the data that the business is able to give you, and make your decisions. And what we're sort of focusing on, and what we need to be able to do as the business owner or the leader within that business, is to identify the lowest level need of the business. And once we know that, what we need to do then is continually repeat this process of situational awareness, identifying our lowest level need. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come up with specific fixes or solutions to that problem. We're going to measure the results, and then we're going to rinse and repeat every quarter, go back through the process. And that's essentially what this training topic is about. But when I've spoken to business owners, not just garage owners, but other business owners, this is the thing that they find the most difficult. If this is a subject that piques your interest, there's an excellent book called Fix This Next by Mike Michalowicz that kind of goes into this in a bit more detail. But if you're interested, what we're going to go through today will probably give you enough of an idea of what you need to work on, or what you need to look at to work on what your lowest level need within your business. So what we're going to start off with is this situational awareness. And basically, without going over the previous training topic, which was called Fix This Next, you'll be able to find it if you look in the events section, or if you're listening to the podcast, there's definitely a podcast on it. There isn't a guide, and we'll come to that in a second. So when you get to your situational awareness, what basically Mike Michalowicz did in his book is he came up with a business hierarchy of needs. And the 3 lowest level needs of the business were sales, profit, and order, without going over the previous training topic too much. So they are the, if you like, the foundation level of the business. You need to create cash. Once you've got sort of your cash creation sorted out, you then need to create stability, which is what profit allows you to have. And then once you're sort of stable as a business, then you can start looking at the creation of efficiency. And that's where your order comes from. And these are the 3 levels that I focus on when I'm looking at a business or when I'm speaking to a business. And luckily enough, I came up with a little workbook, which is the Fix This Next workbook, that you can get for free simply by clicking the link in the podcast notes if you're listening to this as a podcast, or just sending me a DM and I'll send you this particular workbook, so you can kind of, if you like, go along with this training topic with the notes, if you like, and that is sort of my gift to you at the beginning of 2024. Is I want garage owners to work on the lowest level need of their business, and how do we identify our lowest level need? Well, as I said at the beginning, you need to have some awareness of the situation that your business finds itself in, and you won't really know by looking at it or where your lowest level need is obviously lying. So I came up with some questions, and they're in the workbook, but we'll kind of go over them here. And then I came up with 3 definitive questions, which will definitely tell you whether or not you have a level need. And they're the ones I did last time. We'll go over them again because I think it's worth reiterating that point. But if you have a attract or convert need with the first, and there's another training topic on this called, and it's all about AC/DC. And the first AC of the AC/DC, how I remember a sales need, and it's one that might come up with in the book, is attract and convert. And the simple question you can ask yourself this, and it's just a yes no answer: do you have enough customers? Yes or no? Now, you may look at it and go, well, I've got jobs coming out of my ears. So then I'll ask you a slightly different question. Do you have enough of the right customers? Slightly different, but that one added word, right customers, probably puts a different twist on that. And that gives you something you can work on within your business. Because if the answers to that is no, you definitely have a creation of cash need. Now, you may think you have enough customers, but then start looking at the utilization of your technicians, or the number of bookings you have against the number of slots you have, and where do you want to be? I mean, you might want to be busier, or you might not want to be busier, but only you can answer that. I would suggest you want to be somewhere in the 70 to 80% range of utilization. That's where you want to be. You need some slack to cover for unexpected jobs, etc., etc. But you ought to be somewhere around about there. Now, you might feel that you could be a little bit sort of less busy, but have more of the right customers, and get more of the right kind of work done. Either way, you still have a AC, attract and convert, need at that level. So you have a sales level need, a creation of cash need. So the second question to ask on the, if you like, the creation of cash is the D of AC/DC, which is delivery. And the simple question to ask yourself here, and analyze maybe over a week, is the work in your business being done to the correct standard within agreed timeframes? And there's sort of 2 aspects, if you like, to this question. The first one, the correct standard is your standard. Is it being done to standards that meet you as the business owner stroke leader have set, if you have set them? And then are they being done then within the agreed timeframes with the customer, or within the agreed timeframes between yourself and the member of staff? They're slightly the same but slightly different questions. And then if you are quoting for work, are the invoices, more often than not, the same as the quote and done at the same time frame? So you're going to add an extra level to that question at this stage, and that's the delivery aspect. And you can still see that you can have enough customers, but then you might not be delivering on that work that you've attracted and converted. So the final thing in the AC/DC of the creation of cash, remember, cash flow is the lifeblood of your business, and that is collect. So the final C is collect. And the simple question like you ask yourself here is, do you have any outstanding invoices? And it's a simple yes or no. You either do or you don't. And if you do, are those invoices over the agreed outstanding period. So if you have in sort of terms, payment terms of 30 days, 60 days, 90 days with any of your customers, are any of those invoices outside of those terms? So it's a weird one in our industry, if you like, in as much as we tend not to have too many outstanding invoices because we have their asset normally, and we kind of hold on to it until they've paid. But if we're doing work, trade work, do we have outstanding invoices? And you'll just know the answer to this by doing a quick look at your books. But we also have, and I've done work with sole traders more so than bigger businesses, where they're simply so busy that they don't actually do the invoices. And the car goes out, oh yeah, no, but he's a good customer, I'll do his bill at some point. But at some point, you may not do his bill. So they're the four questions, and I've got a final question, which I'll go through at the end for each of these. They're the sales questions, if you like. So when it comes to creating enough cash within your business, this is the lowest level need of the business, the very foundation your business is built on. Cash flow, it's simply this. Do you have enough of the right customers? Is the work done to the correct standard within agreed timeframes? And do you have any outstanding invoices? If the answer to any of those is one that requires work, then you have a lowest level need within your business, and that is the thing that should be your priority for the next 90 days. The second level is profit, or the creation of stability. And the questions I like to ask businesses here is, does the business have any bad debt? We've talked about debt in a previous training topic. I can't remember which one it is. But basically, bad debt is debt that doesn't bring any return. So it's just borrowing for borrowing's sake, if you like. So it's credit cards, overdraft. It's debt that isn't doing any work for you. So a good debt, mortgage, maybe a lease on a tool or ramps that bring in a return on that investment. Bad debt is just money you've borrowed for whatever reason. Do you have director's loans? That's all, if you like, bad debt. Now, if the business has bad debt, then you need to work on it. You need to find a way of reducing that debt. That is it's something that's holding the business back. Next one I like to ask is the parts margin over 33%, and or markup, if you want to work it on markup, 50%. And that's a kind of not any one particular part, because some are obviously attract more profit margin than others. But what I'm asking is, if you look over a period of time, are you making enough on your parts? And only you can decide that. But you need to be really honest with yourself, because when I go through this with garages, they're not. They think they are, and they kid themselves on that they are. But actually, when you drill down into the data, they're not. So that's the next one. Then I like to ask, does the average customer use your services more than once a year? And that's what we're looking at here is do your customers repeatedly use your services? Or are your customers they use you once a year? And a typical business that falls into this trap is an MOT garage who's attracting a lot of work through the MOT bay, but they come and they have an MOT this year. Next year they might have an MOT and service, but we see that customer once a year, unless they have an unfortunate breakdown. However, if you could educate your customers, you might be able to reduce those breakdowns by seeing them more than once a year. You get the idea. So that's the next one. And then the final question I ask about profit is simply this. Does every pound invested in your business return more than a pound back into the business? And that's a little bit more complicated. But the stats kind of suggest that it's around about a 17% return. For every pound invested in a small business, you get £1.17 back. So are you doing slightly better than the UK average? or you're doing worse than the UK average, or are you actually, for every pound that is invested in your business, are you actually returning more than a pound or slightly less than a pound? Are you actually not making any profit? Now, the reason I ask that is because and it's a quote I like to come back to, because it's the one that highlights to me the fragility, if you like, of most small businesses, and that's that a very high proportion of small to medium-sized businesses have negative cash flow more than once a year. So for a month, their outgoings exceed their incoming, and we need to get away from that situation. So they're the second level, if you like, the profit questions. The third level is order, and this nice simple set of questions for the creation of efficiency is simply this: is your business lean? What I mean by that, is your business greater than 70% efficient? It's a simple enough thing to do. If you've got a garage management system that gives you the overall efficiency of your business, or individual techs, you can just look at that, average it out, and you'll know. Do you have all the right people in the right seats? What I mean by that is, do you have the right members of staff doing the right job at the right time? Does the person closest to the task have enough autonomy to influence the outcome? Now, that's a lot of sort of wordy words of saying, do your staff have enough autonomy? Can they work independently enough without having to ask you all the time to make decisions when it directly affects the thing that they do? So if someone authorize, a discount for a customer if they work customer facing, or do they have to come and see you? Something that's just an example, but that's what, does the person closest to the task have enough autonomy to influence the outcome? That's basically what that means. Do you have a succession plan for key roles within the business? So do you have a plan for replacing the people who are most important in your business? You either do or you don't. Are you the best at what you do locally? And they are the questions that I like to ask around about order. So if you think about those questions, and like I say, if you can't remember them or you don't want to listen to me waffle on again, get in touch, get the workbook, the questions are in there. So once you've identified your lowest level need, and it's dead simple, if you answered yes or you answered negatively to any of the questions at any of those levels, you need to go back to the lowest level. So if you had a sales level need, you now know. If you have a profit level need, you now know. Or if you have an order level need, you now know. If you don't have any needs at those levels, you don't need to be listening to me, that's for sure. You're probably doing better in business than I am. But once you've identified that lowest level need, it's basically the next thing you need to do is pinpoint what needs to be fixed at that level. And it's probable there'll be multiple issues at that level, and you just need to pick it and work on it, probably working back from AC, then to D, and then to C in the AC/DC. But it's tempting to go after the low-hanging fruit, but without solid foundations, your business will always struggle. So during, and the example I'll give, because it's one that kind of, I'm not sure if it annoyed me or why it annoyed me, but it did during lockdown, that lots and lots of businesses decided to paint the floor. And I love a shiny looking garage, but were all of those businesses, none of them had a sales, profit or order level need that they could then go out and fix their floor? Probably not, but it did look nice. So you can see it's easy to fix something that's not going to fix anything within the business. And that's what I'm trying to get to. What is the next logical step? So once you know what your lowest level need is, and it's probably not painting the floor, you now need to apply specific fixes and solutions. So you need to work on a specific issue. It might require multiple fixes. Those fixes might be across different levels, but you must remain focused on the lowest level need. If an obvious problem at a higher level becomes apparent, you can choose to deal with it, but don't do that if it impacts on the lowest priority need. So you can fix other things as long as you're fixing the lowest level need in the background. And that's your priority, that's your main focus. How do you know if it's working? Well, the questions I've just asked are mainly key results. And the key result that alerted you to your lowest level need is the key result you need to measure continuously within your business. And it provides two benefits. Motivation, seeing the improvements going as you go along is a great motivator. But you can also see if you're doing stuff and you're putting effort into your business and it isn't working, if the thing that you've decided to do to improve that lowest level need doesn't move the needle, then that isn't probably the thing you should be working on. And then we can quickly go back and change something else, apply a different fix or solution. And then all we need to do is every quarter, or ideally every week in your weekly meeting, check, are we doing the right thing? And I have this idea around the 3 I's of this bit of the procedure, where it's inspect, innovate, and implement. And that's what we're doing every quarter at a minimum. We're inspecting, are the specific fixes working? I use a traffic light system, I've talked about that before. Red, amber, green. Are we on track? Is it moving the needle? Innovate. Don't be afraid to try something that doesn't work, because if we don't try anything, nothing will change. So innovations is the second one, and the final one, third, implementation. If they are working, if the stuff you're doing, if the stuff you're changing within your business is making a difference, make them part of the process or systems in place in your business. And that's it. So what are the atomic action that you need to take this week? I know I've gone on a little bit more than longer than normal, but hey, I do that every week. The atomic action this week is identify your lowest level need and come up with a plan to address those needs and measure the results. That's it. That is the atomic action. And that's not the atomic action for this week. That's the atomic action for this year. If you're listening to this and you're wondering what I should do with my business, it's this. Find out what your business's lowest level need is, come up with a plan to address those needs, and then measure the results. That's it. And you will see a change. You can't fail if you do this. So if you want a quick and easy way to know if you've got a sales, profit, or order level need, and you need to drill down in one of those levels, these are the 3 questions I've got for you. Does your business have positive cash flow every month? Yes or no? If it does, you probably don't have a sales level need. If it doesn't, and you're like 97 or something, it is something weird like that % of all small businesses out there that don't, then you have a sales level need and you need to fix it. Do you have more than 3 months worth of operating costs available cash at hand? So do you have 3 months of operating costs worth of savings in the business? If you don't, you have a profit level need. And finally, to find out if you have an order level need, can you go on a holiday for 4 weeks as the business owner and your business continue to work seamlessly without you? If you can't, and most of us can't, you have an order level need. You need to create order within your business. And they are the 3 quick and easy, if you like, the down and dirty questions that I ask a business owner to know which level need they need to look at. So if you answer those 3 questions, you'll know which level need you have. So do you have positive cash flow every month? And by that, I'm not just looking at your normal books. It's actually whether or not there was more money coming into the business in that month than went out. And that is when you've honored all your commitments. Not that you managed it because you didn't pay yourself, or you managed it because you didn't pay one of your suppliers that week or that month. Does your business have positive cash flow every month? Do you have more than 3 months worth of operating costs in the bank? And can the business run without you for a month? They're the 3 questions. By answering them, you know which level need you have. Once you know what level need it is you're at, whether it's a sales, profit, or order level need, you can then start to analyze your business, be situationally aware of your business, know what is going wrong and what you need to do about it. Apply those specific fixes and solutions, measure the results, and then repeat every quarter until your business is running seamlessly. Remember to inspect, innovate, and implement. If I've made you think about how you run your business, then I've done my job. If you want a copy of the worksheet, the link, if you're listening to the podcast, is in the show notes. If not, DM me if you're listening in the Facebook group, and I'll send you the link. Thanks for listening. Have a great night.